Back at it again, baby, and we got another one from the brother Jordan Peterson. Let's dive in.
Or my next question to be about Lafayette. And so I thought I would read a couple of Facebook posts that certain students who are critical of you read in the lead up to this event and just ask you to respond to
Some Facebook post? Oh my gosh.
So this is a student writing, Lafayette College, I am utterly disappointed that you're allowing this to take place on our campus. I thought we went through this last semester with Roaming Millennial. Inviting hateful speakers who make wildly unsubstantiated claims is not going to fly with the student body. I get it. The Mill Series events are private and not endorsed by the college, but you absolutely have the power to make a statement on this. The fact that you're not is an embarrassment to our community.
It's called free speech. Why would they stand in front of it? It's free speech. I don't understand. And the fact that you would call Jordan Peterson hateful. Maybe there is a video of Jordan. If there is, please send it my way. Don't send me just the good Jordan Peterson videos. Send me the videos where he loses a debate or he says some hateful things. Send me everything. Don't just send me the sunshine and rainbow stuff. If there are those types of videos out there, I want to see them. I want to see it all. I don't want to live in, some fantasy land that isn't realistic, Send them my way if they exist. Please do. I doubt that they do, but
if you believe this man is a legitimate source of knowledge because he has a degree in clinical psychology, feel free to ask our psychology department faculty and counseling center staff about the validity of his claims. I'm certain they would not endorse this speaker. Do better, in all caps. For those of you unfamiliar, Jordan Peterson is known for denouncing the Me Too movement, claiming that women are in no way marginalized in the West, arguing against the existence of gender-neutral pronouns, arguing against gun control in the U.S., and claiming that identity politics and social justice movements are part of a devious Marxist agenda. And then another student justice movement, gun control in the U.S., and claiming that identity politics and social justice movements are part of a devious Marxist agenda. And then another student responded, and this is briefer. College conservatives know that if they bring in a speaker who is willing to blatantly insult a portion of the audience, and the libs get angry enough about this for good reason, then they may get an op-ed written about them in the New York Times. As a result, there are a whole group of hacks, like Milo and Peterson, who get famous and invited purely for their promise to misgender trans students and advocate provocative but ultimately toothless arguments about social Darwinist race theory.
So if you feel their purpose is to rile you up, why do you still get riled up? Like if you know that is the purpose, why are you still getting riled up? If you feel that their whole purpose is to get you angry so that it gets them more attention, why are you still giving them attention? The logic just isn't there. It just doesn't make sense sometimes, the stuff that comes out of some people's mouths.
What I'm saying is that you have every right to be pissed. Jordan Peterson is a harmful moron, but know that...
And these same people that call all types of names, if you flip the script and you start calling them names, oh my God, it's the end of the world. How dare you? So let's stop the shenanigans. If you disagree with somebody, let's have a debate. We could take it back to the old Western days, where they used to draw. Except we not actually, drawing. We gonna draw at the debate table with facts, not feelings. Everything's gonna be fact checked. That's exactly what we should do. All these folks that get angry and all right, we'll sit at the round table. Let's have a debate. We'll have a couple fact checkers that are in the room as well, and they will research and fact check everything that you say to make sure that it is a fact and not just a feeling, and may the best person win. Let's have a debate. How y'all feel? Y'all think that's a good idea? Let me know.
But know that you being pissed is also 100% at the point of why he was invited. He's not a conservative. He's just a guy who's mildly racist enough to offend college liberals and therefore secure wins for the cultural right.
Logic doesn't make sense.
Comparatively mild stuff. It's the chattering buzz of ideologically possessed demons. So there's nothing in it that's not entirely predictable. That's one of the things you notice when you're talking to people. If you want to find out whether the person is there or the ideology is there, you listen to see if you're hearing anything that someone else of the same ideological mindset couldn't have told you. You know, like I've had thousands of conversations with people because I've spent 20 years as a clinical psychologist, and one of the things I've learned about people is that they're unbelievably interesting. If you get someone to sit down and you move past the superficial, which you can actually do quite rapidly, they'll tell you all sorts of things that only they know, that are unbelievably enlightening about their own peculiar problems, about the way they look at the world, about their idiosyncratic familial dynamics, like just fascinating personal stuff. It's the stuff of great novels, you know, and this is ordinary people. I don't really think there is an ordinary person exactly. There's the facade of ordinariness, but behind that, people are very rarely ordinary. And so the conversations are almost instantaneously fascinating. And one of the guidelines that I used in my clinical practice constantly was, like, I had this sense, I probably learned this mostly from Carl Rogers, was that if the conversation wasn't really interesting, then we weren't doing anything that was therapeutically useful. But all of the interesting elements of it were very, very personal. And so to replace this, and I learned this mostly from Alexander Solzhenitsyn in his detailed analysis of what I would call ideological possession, he talked about people he met in the Gulag camps who were under the sway of rigid communist orthodoxy, and noted very clearly that it was like there was a crank in some sense on the side of their head, and you could just crank the crank and out would come the ideological dogma, and it's all entirely predictable. And people who are in a situation like that don't understand that they're possessed by an idea, right? Carl Jung said people don't have ideas, ideas have people.
Ooh. People don't have ideas. Ideas actually have people. There's just a crank on the side of their head, and you can just predict exactly what it is. Oh man, ain't that the truth? I'm finding that out more and more. Ain't that the truth?
It's like, so there's nothing in that that's anything other than exactly what you would predict. And then there's a deeper issue too, and this is one that I think has bedeviled me ever since I made my initial videos, which is it's impossible for those on the radical left to admit that anyone who opposes what they're doing might be reasonable, because what that would mean would be that you could be reasonable and oppose the radical left, and that would imply that what the radical left was doing wasn't reasonable. And so instead of dealing with the fact that I actually happen to be quite reasonable, the attempt is to assume that anyone who objects must be part of the radical right. It's like, well, actually, no. There's lots of space between the radical left and the radical right. There's the moderate, reasonable left, for example, and then there's the center, and then there's the moderate, reasonable right, and then there's the far right, and then there's the extreme right. All of that exists in opposition to the radical left, but it's very convenient for the radicals on the left to say, oh, well, you don't buy our doctrine, and then to immediately make the presupposition that you must be the most heinous example of that entire array of potential objection.
So we've seen that in the few videos that I've checked out here on the channel. You know, if you oppose a certain idea, then you're automatically racist. You hate trans. You know, oh well, you don't agree with, you know, if a trans person is saying something, and you know you don't agree with what they're saying, oh, you must hate all trans people. Like Caitlyn Jenner got accused of being a transphobe. How does that even make sense? She is trans. Like, somebody please explain that to me, please. Some people will go to the absolute extreme. Oh, you must hate this group of people. No, I just disagree. We can disagree and not hate each other. That concept is so foreign to some people. Like, there's no way we could possibly disagree. Like, if we disagree, you must hate me. Make that make sense. So I must hate everybody on this planet then. We're not going to agree on every single topic across the board. We might agree on most topics, but not everything. And that's okay. We got to get out of this stupid mentality of hate and anger because people disagree. Like, but maybe I'm wrong about it all. Y'all let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. All right? Peace and love. I'm out.